Johannes Vermeer, who lived in the 17th century, is one of the most famous Dutch painters. In his paintings, he is well known for depicting intimate interior scenes with fantastic light and a sense of intimacy. He was able to create an atmosphere that seemed peaceful and timeless at the same time. Vermeer usually spent a lot of time on every piece of art, so he didn't complete many. The number of paintings attributed to him is around 40. Although he produced beautiful works of art, his work was virtually forgotten for almost 200 years until the art critic Thorberger came across his painting and catalogued it in 1866.
The most well-known of Vermeer's works is Girl with a Pearl Earring. The Dutch Mona Lisa is a widely used term for it. It depicts an imaginary girl dressed in exotic attire, having an oriental turban, and wearing an enormous pearl in her ear. Light was Johannes Vermeer's talent. The girl's soft face and the glimmering light on her moist lips serve as visual indicators of this. The girl is viewed against a neutral, almost black background, giving the image a powerful three-dimensional appearance.
The Milkmaid is entirely immersed in her work, carefully pouring milk and providing nourishment. The palette features a controlled color scheme, white, yellow, and blue. The foreground still life conveys domestic simplicity, drawing the viewer's attention to the milkmaid's activity.
Vermeer depicts Delft from across its harbor, mirroring selected reflections on the water in a rich, full sky with magnificent cloud formations looming over it in this most famous cityscape of the Dutch 17th century. The inner city glows in the warmth of bright sunlight beyond the frieze of Delft's protective walls and massive gates. The Nieuwe Kerk Tower is rising above all.
The Procuress portrays the procurement of mercenary love in a contemporary Dutch setting. The woman dressed in black clothing is the Procuress. The man to her right, wearing a black beret, is probably a self-portrait of Vermeer. A detailed oriental kilim rug thrown over a banister is a tapestry-woven carpet probably produced in Uşak, Turkey. And the three-dimensional jug on that rug is a piece of Westerwald pottery.
The glass of wine depicts a seated woman and a standing man drinking in a brightly lit and spacious interior setting that is elegant and upper-class. This seduction scene includes an open window as the temperance warning figure.
A young woman dressed in exotic clothing and pearl earring has her face illuminated by soft light. It is frequently considered a variant of girl with a pearl earring due to its nearly identical size and similarity in tone and composition. We see a woman looking over her shoulder once again.
A young woman sitting at a harpsichord, a man playing the lute, and a woman singing in harmony are depicted in the concert. A bass viol is also visible in the foreground. The element of a picture within a picture appears again in this painting. In the background, there are two paintings. The artwork belonged to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, but it was stolen in 1990 and is still missing.
Vermeer depicts a solitary, studious man in his 30s looking intently at a celestial globe in a cozy, warmly lit studio, measuring the distance between stars with his fingers. The Finding of Moses is represented by a painting within a painting on the background wall.
The Geographer is closely related to Vermeer's The Astronomer. Both paintings feature the same model clothed in the same dress. Vermeer captured the moment when the Geographer, dressed in a Japanese-style robe popular among scholars at the time, is mentally surveying the world.
The tied-up curtain in the foreground gives the impression that the viewer is looking at a very private and personal scene. The diagonal patterns on the checkerboard floor give the room a three-dimensional and depth-based appearance. The fact that the woman is carrying a lute, which is a symbol of love, indicates that she has received a love letter. The two paintings on the wall are also noteworthy. The lower painting depicts a stormy sea, a clear metaphor for turbulent love. The upper landscape painting of a traveler on a sandy road may refer to the absence of the man who is writing to the lady.
A woman in a fine white and blue satin dress, representing the church, places one foot atop a globe, while a crushed snake in the foreground represents victory over sin. A large painting of Christ's crucifixion hangs on the wall behind the woman. Before his marriage, Vermeer converted to Catholicism, and this painting may also refer to the celebration of the Mass in hidden churches within private homes.
It depicts the goddess Diana while taking a rest with her nymphs. She is the goddess of wild animals and the hunt, identified with the Greek goddess Artemis.
Vermeer's only known work depicting a biblical story is Christ in the house of Martha and Mary. Christ is seen in this painting while visiting the homes of the two sisters, Mary and Martha. While Martha is preoccupied with housekeeping, Christ praises Mary for her willingness to listen to his teachings.
Johannes Vermeer's Officer and Laughing Girl features a girl in a yellow dress seated at a table facing a man with a huge hat. The main subject is the woman who resembles Vermeer's wife Katharina Bones, who had modeled for many of his paintings.
A Lady and Two Gentlemen depicts a young woman in an elegant red dress seated in the foreground, turned to the left and half smiling at the viewer. She appears to be courted by a fine gentleman bending over and encouraging the young lady to take a sip from the wine glass in her hand.
Girl Interrupted at Her Music depicts a young woman studying music with an older gentleman. The young woman seated in the composition looks away from the man standing over her as if the viewer of the artwork had just interrupted their conversation. Her face is delicately illuminated, and so is her white headdress.
Woman with a Pearl Necklace depicts a young woman, most likely of upper-class descent, dressed in pearl earrings and a pearl necklace looking toward a window's light source.
Woman with a Water Jug depicts a woman lost in thought during daily activity. She is holding the frame of a leaded glass window in one hand and a water pitcher in the other.
The Music Lesson is a painting of a young female student in the middle of a music lesson with a gentleman. The composition exploits perspective to draw the viewer's attention to the figures in front of the Virginal. Latin inscription placed on the lid of the Virginal means music is a companion in pleasure and a balm in sorrow. Vermeer cleverly revealed the young woman's face by using the mirror above the Virginal.
A Lady Seated at a Virginal depicts a richly dressed woman playing the Virginal in a room with a tiled floor, paintings on the walls, and Delft blue and white tiles at the foot of the back wall.